Hey guys, welcome back to the Second Time Lucky Mining channel. In today's video, we are going to have a look at the mining statistics for the month of Feb. If you like the mining content, please like the video and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. It will help me out a great deal. But enough of shilling my channel, let's jump into the content. Now, can you believe it? It's the second month of the year, it's the last day of February, and here we are doing the statistics again. Now, if you're unfamiliar or you haven't watched one of these in the past, what I like to have a look at is the mining statistics according to HiveOS for the end of the month. And what I like to have a look at more specifically is the changes that miners are making from one month to the other. Now, the typical things that we'll have a look at is what is the popular coins, and then specifically the trends in changing of coins. So what people are mining now. We'll have a look at the GPU brands people are using, AMD versus Nvidia. Have a look at the most popular GPUs, the 3070, surprise on the Nvidia side. And then we're going to have a look at which mining software people are gravitating towards. So the idea here really is to have a look at the trends and see what miners are doing. Now, getting the disclaimers out of the way, we are going to have a look at the HiveOS mining statistics. And again, like all statistics, that is not perfect. And the big reason as to why is there's other mining operating systems out there. HiveOS is just one Linux-based mining operating system, which publishes the stats and is readily available. And hence I'm looking at it, but we're potentially missing out on people using other operating systems specifically for mining. Like I said, any other Linux-based operating system, and the crazy people out there still mining with Windows. So that is just something that you need to take into account. But according to me, or at least in my opinion, I'm not so fixated on the numbers as per se. I'm more interested in the trends, to see trends changing. So when people move from one coin to the other or change GPU brand, that's what I'm more specifically looking to. So the raw number I know is not perfect, but it's more the trends that I'm looking for. But enough of talking about it. Let's jump on the computer and have a look at the mining statistics for the month of Feb.
Okay, so here we are on the computer. Now, what I've done is I've opened up the HiveOS statistics page. And again, I'll leave a link in the video description and you can go and have a look throughout the month in case you wanted to. But looking at the most popular coins, you can see Ethereum Classic is still the most popular, followed by Casper, then Raven, then Nexa, and then Ergo. Now, what I find surprising is Nexa is still holding up at about 8%. Now, what I'm more interested about is the trend. So if I go to my spreadsheet here, which I've been tracking, and again, I'll leave a link in the video description to that, but it's also on my YouTube channel. Now, what I quite like to look at here is the trends. And if you have a look at Ethereum Classic, it's been dwindling down since October at 32% all the way down now to 21%. So this month is no surprise. It's still going down. Together with the people mining Radiant has also gone down. I also saw Flux going down, and the Flux one is not a surprise. We had the rewards halving this month, so I would imagine more people would drop off of Flux. But what I find interesting is the gainers here. So you can see Nexa is still gaining ground. So there's actually more people that mined it this month compared to January when it started, or at least I started tracking it. And the other big change here is Casper. So there's people jumping on Casper again. So that's nice to see. It's a bit of a yo-yo. There was less people, then a lot, then dwindling down, and now people are coming back to it. So that's quite interesting to see. And what I'm finding surprising is more people jumping on Ravencoin. And that's really the trends for the coins. Now, the next metric that we're going to have a look at is the GPU brands. So if I just jump back into HiveOS and scroll all the way down, you can still see there's a two-way split, or, between Nvidia and AMD, and it's basically 2/3 to 1/3. So the most popular brand is still Nvidia at 66, followed by AMD. So there hasn't been a real massive change. If I have a look at my statistics, it's been bobbing around between 2/3 and 1/3 for the last couple of months. So not really anything interesting there. At least in my opinion, it makes total sense. Nvidia GPUs are just, at least in my opinion, more versatile, and it's just easier to overclock and deal with. I do love my AMD GPUs, but they can be a little bit more finicky to get working and get efficient. Now, the next thing that I wanted to have a look at is the GPU model. So if I just jump back to HiveOS and we'll start with Nvidia. And as you can see here, the most popular mining GPU in the Nvidia stable is still the 3070, which makes total sense to me. It's the most efficient GPU. It doesn't get super hot. It still uses GDDR6, so not the X. So it's just a great GPU to mine with. That is followed by the 1660, the 3060 Ti, the LHR and non-LHR, followed by the 2060, and then the 3080. So that's really how the GPU stack. And again, no real surprise here. If I look at the trends, if I just jump back to my sheet, there hasn't been a noticeable change here or something that tickles my fancy to really talk about here. It's still top dog is the 3070, followed by the other ones that I've mentioned. So not really anything interesting in the changes. Now moving on to the AMD GPUs, and if I jump back to iOS here, the most popular GPU on the AMD side is no surprise. It's still the GOAT, the king, the RX 580, the most popular GPU, followed by the 570, and then the 5700 XT. So there's still a lot of people using the 5700 XT, and that's now when we start seeing the RDNA 2 cards, the RX 6600, followed by the 7600 XT. So I've got a couple of the 6700 XTs, and that's followed by the 6600. Now, if I look at the trends here, again, similar to Nvidia GPUs, there isn't really a massive trend here. There's a small uptick in 570s, but nothing really that tickles my fancy or something to call out here. I'm still surprised that there's so much 580s mining, and at least the way that I justify it or that I look at it is the people that has got them or still mining probably ROI'd a long time ago, so they're just running these cards until they die. Now the last thing that we're going to have a look at is the most popular miners. So if I jump back into HiveOS and scroll a little bit down here, you can see here the mix between the different miners people are using. So LOL miner is still the most popular, followed by Team Red Miner, which is just for AMD GPUs, followed by T-Rex. Again, that's just for Nvidia GPUs. Then we've got the mixed miners, NB Miner and G Miner here. Now, this hasn't really changed that much. So if I jump back to my change tracker here, there hasn't been a noticeable change. What I did find interesting, or at least the only thing that's really interesting here, is I can see that BZ Miner dropped off a little bit. So it lost about 1.67% here, and who has gained from that? It looks to be T-Rex. Now what you will also see is that Mini Z has dropped off slightly, and that I think is a direct correlation to the flux halving, or at least the reward halving. At least in my opinion, the most people that use Mini Z is really to mine flux on Nvidia cards here. So what you would see here is the drop off that we found from people mining flux. They would naturally move away from Mini Z and then use something different. And here is something that exactly that you can see here. So we see a slight drop off on Mini Z and then a tick up in T-Rex miner. So that sort of makes sense to me that people might be stop mining flux and then using T-Rex to mine something different, potentially Casper or whatever they wanted to mine.
That's it for this video, guys. If you've liked the video, please like the video and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't, please specify in the comments what you would like me to change. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.